New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By your Tri-State Toyota dealers, who invite you to come in and test drive a Toyota and ride with the best. By the Whiz, nobody beats the Whiz. By Dodge, for 1988, it's gotta be a Dodge. By 9X Yellow Pages, if it's out there, it's in here. By today's TWA, find out how good we really are. And by New York Telephone, public phone.
From County Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Sports Channel presents New York Yankees baseball. This afternoon, the Yankees versus the Milwaukee Brewers. Hi, everybody, and welcome to County Stadium. I'm Ken Harrelson, along with Bobby Mercer, as the Yankees get set to take on the Brewers in the first of a three-game series on a very cold afternoon. Some pregame festivities going on down on the field, as this is Milwaukee's opening day. But, Bobby, the big thing right now, the Yankees at perfect 5-0 mark at Yankee Stadium, going to Toronto, losing the first one, coming back, sweeping the next three. All of a sudden now, leading the league, and Jack Clark back in the lineup.
Well, Jack Clark is here, ladies and gentlemen, back from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And the Yankees are playing great baseball, and now with the addition of Jack Clark, they really haven't missed Jack Clark up until this time, but adding Jack Clark back in the fourth spot, designated here this afternoon. I know one thing, Hawk, he's ready to go, and he's got a nice tan.
Well, the tan, sure, but you talked to him about his calf. How's his calf muscle?
He said the calf is about 90% healed, and he's done everything in Florida that he expects to do here. He's had a lot of swings down there, so he feels like that his timing will be there, and he's going to run just as fast as he would if it wasn't hurt.
All right, Clark back in the lineup. It'll be Tommy John against the right-hander Mike Birkbeck, and we'll be back with more right after this.
Off Ricky Henderson, and he will play in left field. Hit in all 9 games for the Yankees so far this year. Batting second, Willie Randolph. Batting third, Don Mattingly. And as we talked about earlier, designated hitter Jack Clark in the lineup for the first time for the Yankees here in '88. So Jack Clark back from Florida and off the disabled list today. Batting fifth, Mike Pagliarulo. Batting sixth, Dave Winfield. Also, Winfield has hit in 9 straight. Batting seventh, Claudell Washington in center field. Batting eighth, Don Slott continues his hot hitting, and he will be doing the catching this afternoon. Batting ninth at shortstop, Bobby Meacham. And on the mound for the New York Yankees, Tommy John. Tommy has only pitched a little over 2 innings so far in 1988, but Tommy John to start this afternoon. For the Milwaukee Brewers, leading off and being the designated hitter this afternoon will be Paul Molitor. And Jan in center field. Batting third, B.J. Surhoff, and he will be playing third base this afternoon. The Brewers switching their infielders around a bit. They're having some problems with some injuries on the infield, so some switching around going on for the Brewers. Batting in the cleanup spot, Greg Brock at first base. Batting in left field, Rob Deere at fifth spot. Batting sixth, Glenn Braggs in right field. Batting seventh, the catcher Bill Schroeder. Batting eighth, Ernest Riles. Riles will play shortstop this afternoon. Batting ninth, and at second base, normally the shortstop, Dale Swain, though he will be at second base this afternoon. And the youngster on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers, right-handed pitcher Mike Birkbeck. Birkbeck getting his first start ever against the New York Yankees. And the first start here in 1988, he has not been able to come up with a start so far for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's had a couple of chances. He is the fifth starter in this Milwaukee Brewer rotation. But the couple of times he's been rained out and they've had to move up their rotation. And so this afternoon, Teddy Higuera was scheduled to start. He came up with a bad back. And so right-handed pitcher Mike Birkbeck will be on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers. Their battery, Schroeder and Birkbeck, and the Yankees battery, Don Slott and Tommy John. Hawks. Well, before we get to the Hawks, we'll take a look at the umpires this afternoon. Behind the plate, Don Dickinger. At first base, Larry McCoy. At second base, Drew Coble. And at third base, Tim McClellan. That's Don Dickinger right there on your screen. He's the home plate umpire. And we are about ready to get underway. As you see, Mike Birkbeck taking his warm-up tosses. And here to tell you about the start of today's ball game is the Hawk Harrelson.
Thank you very much, Bobby. And once again, hi, everybody. And so happy you could join us this afternoon. Chilly day here in Wisconsin. Game time temperature about 40 degrees, but that wind chill, I mean, it has knocked it down in the 20s, maybe even in the teens. Capacity crowd expected as the pregame festivities have just concluded. As you look at the young right-hander Mike Birkbeck taking his warm-up tosses. Right now, let's check out the Brewers for you defensively. In the outfield, it'll be Rob Deere in left. The veteran Robin Yount in center. Glenn Braggs in right. Around the horn, Greg Brock at first base. As Bobby mentioned, Dale Swain will be at second. The shortstop this afternoon, Ernest Riles. Over third, a catcher, B.J. Surhoff. Behind the plate, Bill Schroeder. And on the mound, 27-year-old right-hander, 6'2", 185 pounds, out of Easton, Maryland, Mike Birkbeck. Birkbeck with a major league record of 2-5, making his first start, his first appearance ever against the New York Yankees. Career-wise, here at County Stadium, he has a mark of 2-2. But as he continues his warm-up tosses, we mentioned the Yankees coming off that very nice road trip up in that four-game series, I should say, up in Toronto, where they lost the first one 17-9, and then came back in the final three games just to hammer the Blue Jays. So the Yankees on top of the American League East with an 8-1 record, half game in front of the Cleveland Indians. Indians playing very fine baseball under the new skipper, Doc Edwards. They are 8-2. The Boston Red Sox, who yesterday defeated these Milwaukee Brewers 2-0 behind 13 strikeouts from the big hard-throwing Texas right-hander Roger Clemens. They are in third place with a record of 6-3, 2 games back, followed by Detroit, Toronto, Milwaukee with this mark of 2-6, and the Baltimore Orioles, who have yet to win. They are 0-9. And checking out some other clubs around the league, you see the Atlanta Braves on bottom of the National League West, 0-8, and all 8 of those games coming at home, Merce. So the Braves certainly have had a tough go out of it.
Well, I don't know if you would ever get a club to say I'm happy to be on the road, but maybe the Atlanta Braves. Chuck Tanner, I saw a quote in the paper this morning. He says, well, maybe we can win on the road. Well,
that's the only thing you can say.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can say when you haven't won a game at home, 0-8.
Here at County Stadium, a symmetrical ballpark, 315 down each line, 362 in the short power alley in left and right, 392 in the deep power alley in left and right, and 402 straightaway center field. You might see the flag flying at half mast out there, and of course that is for Harvey Keene, who is a great player. Came over here as a coach and manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, led them to the World Series back in 1982. Harvey, 7 weeks ago, passing away. Archie was a good man. He will be sorely missed by everybody in baseball, but especially by his hometown Milwaukee people. Birkbeck has finally concluded his warm-up tosses. It'll be Henderson, Randolph, and Mattingly to face the right-hander. Birkbeck is not overpowering. He is a breaking ball pitcher. He has to have good control. He has to keep the ball down. And we'll see how he fares against the Yankees, who have just been ganashing the baseball. They are hitting at .318 as a club. Here's Henderson. Breaking ball. That's a base hit. They just got to eat this one. As Birkbeck slips, makes the throw. And first base umpire Larry McCoy says he did not make an attempt to go to second base.
Well, it looked like Henderson may have tripped over the bag. I don't know. He may have had what you call one of those hawk brain cramps as he was running down to first base. Now, it's a perfect bunt. There's no chance for the pitcher to even make a play. In fact, he shouldn't even have tried to make a play. Good play by Brock, pulling the ball down from the air. Now, it looked to me like Henderson was on his way to second base. I think he thought the ball had been overthrown already. Treblehorn is now out to talk to the first base umpire, Larry McCoy, but it looked to me like Henderson thought the ball was somewhere out in right field, and he was on his way to second base.
Just take a look at Ricky. Now watch his reactions. If there is a definite move to go to second base, which there was right there, then indeed, by Brock putting it on him, he is out. Larry McCoy says, no, thank you. I did not think he was trying to go to second base. There has to be a definite intent to go to second base. So the Yankees catch a break. The bunt single by Henderson, that extends his hitting streak to 10 games. All 10 games the Yankees have played thus far. Now Birkbeck may have injured himself as he slipped on the third baseline.
It's a good way to pull a groin muscle as he went over towards the third baseline, and he slipped, and his feet kind of spread apart, His legs, that is.
Well, Bobby, you hit it right on the head at first. There's no way in the world, first of all, Birkbeck, for the most part, a rookie. There's no reason in the world he should have even tried to make a play on this ball. He's not going to get him. The only thing he can do is throw it away or make a mistake. There you see the leg come right out from under him. So the Yankees catch a break with Henderson being called safe after he had already beaten it out. And here's Willie Randolph. Willie 0 for 9 against Brewer pitching. Yankees, of course, swept Milwaukee back at the stadium in that 3-game series. Ricky, 10 stolen bases in 13 attempts. He has a 5 stolen base lead in the American League. Joe Carter of Cleveland second.
Well, the Yankees playing smart baseball, taking advantage of the infielders out of position right now. So we mentioned B.J. Surhoff actually getting his first start at third base, and he's the third baseman this afternoon. Henderson tested him right off the bat.
Paul Molitor still nursing a very sore shoulder. He cannot play in the field. Of course, it doesn't hurt him to swing the bat. Henderson just a decent lead over.
Gantner, the normal second baseman, he's out with a hamstring pull. Steve Kiefer, he's gone home to be with his wife. New birth of a son.
Good for him.
So they're a little thin on the infield.
Very thin. Boy, I tell you, you got to start putting catchers back there, especially rookie catchers.
Well, B.J. at North Carolina, he's an all-around athlete, and actually he played shortstop there, and that's where they decided they want to switch him to catcher. But it is not the same when you haven't been out there in a long time.
Or in the big leagues. A little difference.
On opening day.
In County Stadium against the Yankees. 2-0 the count to Randolph. The Yankees played 7 times here in 1987, and they lost 4 of those games. There's the strike, and the count moves to 2-1.
I think Willie thought Henderson was going to take off on that pitch. He just took it all away, and it was the second strike on him. First strike, that is.
Wind blowing out towards left field. Actually, it's a swirling wind. It's changed directions as Ricky looked like he may have had a little intent on that pitch. But the wind has been swirling here all during batting practice. At times we've seen the flag blow in, blow out to right. Right now it's blowing out to left. And Randolph up on top in the count, 3-1.
When I got to the ballpark this morning, the temperature was 36 degrees here at Milwaukee County Stadium. And I'll bet you it's not much more than that right now.
I got here about 3 hours early, 3 hours and 15 minutes early, and the fans were just already stacked up outside. They had the tailgaters. That strike catches the outer part of the plate, and the count goes full.
Balk.
Check it. They call a balk right here, and they're going to wave Henderson on down to second base. Ricky still doesn't know it yet.
Well, the first base umpire was talking to somebody else, and he didn't know it either. McClellan and Coble all called the balk, but McCoy at first base was looking and talking to the first base coach or somebody. Now Birkbeck wants to know what the heck is going on. How in the world can you? This is the balk has really plagued the Milwaukee Brewers.
It's plagued everybody.
Yeah, and Birkbeck, he is really hot right now. McClellan and Birkbeck are after it. Now here comes Trebelhorn. He's doing what he has to do, separate the two. He doesn't want his starting pitcher thrown out of this ball game. And Tom is not happy. He's not happy for 2 reasons. He's lost 6 straight, and the balk has really cost the Milwaukee Brewers, especially against the New York Yankees. See if he comes to a complete stop. Well, he never got all the way down to the belt.
But his set position could be a little higher, which would be all right. But the thing is that McClellan said he just didn't stop. You know, that's again.
But they are so technical right now. It doesn't make any difference whether you look at Bobby Witt. He tied American League record with 4 balks, and his set position is about halfway between the chest and the belt, and they called it every time on him. Until he went closer to the belt, they kept calling the balk on him, no matter whether he made a complete stop or not.
Merce, I think during the first week, I think we expressed our opinions very clearly on that balk rule. It's a joke. It's a farce. So Henderson is second, 3-2 the count to Randolph. Top of the first inning. No, check that. There was no pitch. So now it's a full count.
Getting back to the ball, I think we're getting closer and closer to a further split between the American and the National League.
That's hit hard down the left field line. Just foul by about a foot. Randolph now looking at the umpire saying, what did he call it?
Game of inches. And this ball is just foul by inches. Willie hit it good.
Continue your thought, Bobby, on the split between the American and the National.
I think it's mostly this new balk rule, of the instigation of this rule on the balk, furthering the umpires looking at it with coming up with a complete stop and adding the discernible stop word in there, that coming from the National League, it helps more. Would help the National League more than it would the American League, because their league is surrounded by speed. The American League is basically a hitter's league.
That breaking ball missed, so Randolph draws a walk. Well, I know the inference that Tony Kubek made on our telecast the other night from Toronto, saying that he had heard that Whitey Herzog had really instigated the thought process on the balk rule to A. Bartlett Giamatti, the president of the National League. It seems to me like that's a little extreme. If in fact it was done for that reason, they made a mistake. As Mattingly steps in, breaking ball misses. And then on the second part of that story, if in fact the American League went along with it, then shame on them. Then it was a compounded mistake.
Well, it's something to look at, and it's in a trial period right now, even though it's been implemented in 1988. It's on a one-year trial period, but you know, the American and National League obviously are separated because of the designated hitter rule. And Giamatti being the new president of the National League and one of the best managers in the big leagues, Whitey Herzog, coming to him, especially after the World Series, as Tony Kubek said, and said that Bert Blylevel was balking every time he went to every time a man got on base. Said, look, we can't have that. I just don't see anything good coming from it.
2-0 pitch. As Swain was out of position, now he'll go over to second base. They force Randolph there. Henderson moves into third. So Yankees with runners at the corners, one out.
What I meant, you know, what I could see coming down the road is the American League slacking up on it, and the National League continuing on with the way that they're doing it right now.
Boy, I'd sure hate like the devil to think that was the scenario.
Well, look, if they can't get together on the designated hitter rule, what's the difference?
No, I'm talking about both leagues agreeing, just because Whitey wanted to have Vince Coleman steal a couple hundred bases this year. Here's Jack Clark, his first appearance in the pinstripes. Takes the curveball living over, and the count 0-1. Clark last year hit .286, 35 homers, 106 RBIs for the Cardinals. And of course, he was injured back on March 17th down in Miami when he hit that second inning home run off Mark Thurman. Another curveball. And quickly, Clark 0-2.
And he hung Jack Clark a breaking ball right there, and it may be just what you're going to see from Clark to start off with. His timing cannot be perfect, even though he's had a lot of swings in Florida in the game and against live pitching. It just cannot be perfect. I think it's a big inspiration for the New York Yankees just to have Jack Clark back in that lineup.
That's it. On the surface of it, it looks awesome. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The Yankees didn't waste any time up in Toronto scoring runs in the first inning.
I mean,
they averaged over 3 runs an inning in the top half of the first inning every game.
The Yankees with the best record in baseball. All of a sudden now you put Jack Clark in there. Some of the other writers were saying it's ludicrous. 2-2 pitch. There's a base hit into center field. So Clark in his first at bat in a Yankee uniform knocks in Henderson, and the Yankees lead it 1-0.
The Yankees continue to jump out in front of teams in the top half of the first inning on this road trip, scoring 13 total runs in 4 games. The top half of the first inning in Toronto. Now they're out in front 1-0. That's a breaking ball. Clark was right on that, even though he hit it right on the end of the bat.
There's Pags. Pags still trying to get untracked. Against Brewer pitching in that 3-game series was 1 for 9. Had a homer and 2 RBIs. That home run coming off the southpaw Juan Nieves. And as Bobby mentioned earlier, the Yankees catching a big break. Teddy Higuera was scheduled to start in this home opener, but he has a very stiff lower back. So it is doubtful to whereas Higuera will face the Yankees in this series at all.
Well, I think, Hawk, they said, didn't they, that if Higuera is better tomorrow, that he possibly could start tomorrow's ball game?
Well, just listening to Teddy talk, he seemed to indicate that that back was getting worse, not better. So they have listed UN undecided as he started for tomorrow. There's a curveball in and over, and the count moves to 1-2. It'll be Roden against old UN tomorrow, and then the finale on Sunday, Candelaria against Chris Bosio. Outfield straight away. That's off the end of the bat, and the count remains ball and 2 strikes, 1 out here in the top of the first inning. A run on 2 hits, no errors for the Yankees, with Mattingly at second, Clark at first. And I'm sure Clark has received orders from the skipper Billy Martin to just take it a little easy out there in the base paths. Activity down in the Milwaukee bullpen. Southpaw Dave Stapleton. Ground ball right side. Swain knocks it down. He will not have a play. So that'll load him up. Infield hit for Pagliarulo. And there's an indication right there on 2 plays already in this inning on how the injuries have already affected the Milwaukee Brewers on their depth infield wise.
Yeah, Jim Gantner or Paul Molitor, either one would have had that ball in the hole. Swaim actually was playing Pagliarulo, looked to me like out of position. He was playing him more up the middle than he was to pull the ball at second base. He was unable to get over towards his left and make that play. That's not going to be good for the pitchers and the Milwaukee Brewers with that infield moved around like it is.
Here's Dave Winfield, 9-game hitting streak, hitting .500 on the season, 3 homers, and leading the league with 16 RBIs. Curveball high. Well, what'll happen when you take a guy like Swain, who is a shortstop, you move him to second base, and you get the double play situation in order. Subconscious, not subconscious, consciously, he's going to cheat that way. He's trying to protect himself in case there is a double play ball hit, so he can get there and make the turnover.
He played second base 3 times last year for the Brewers.
2 balls, no strikes. Birkbeck getting himself in a whole bunch of trouble right here with Winfield.
What happened up in Toronto when the Yankees and the Blue Jays too gave each ball club 4 outs in an inning.
There's a strike. We mentioned Birkbeck certainly not overpowering. He is a finesse type pitcher, a little bit out of the Boddicker mold. He has to spot the curveball, as most guys will have to spot the fastball or the sinker. Birkbeck has to spot the curveball to set his fastball up. That breaking ball inside, and the count 3-1 with Claudell Washington on deck.
He's got him in. He got himself in some kind of hole right here with the bases loaded. 3-1 pitch about to come on its way to Dave Winfield. This is a hitter's delight right here.
Yes, sir. This is what you try to maneuver and finagle yourself around in that count to get to, especially with the men on the base paths. 3-1. You got 2 good pitches to take a look at. Oh, wow. Mercy. What a rip by Winfield. Full count.
I figured if Big Dave didn't make contact with that ball and he happened to miss the 3-1 pitch, he'd screw himself into the ground at home plate. He'd be swinging so hard.
If he'd have thrown him a straight change, he certainly would have.
He'd have broken his back.
Well, he could have undone a whole case of Chardonnay. That's ball 4. Breaking ball misses low. Mattingly will score, and the Yankees lead it 2-0. RBI number 17 for David.
Well, you can see the confidence that this youngster has at his breaking ball, and I'm not sure how sharp his breaking ball can be because he hasn't pitched so far in 1988. And he throws a 3-2 breaking ball to Dave Winfield to walk a runner home. That's a lot of confidence early in the season.
As I mentioned, that's his pitch. If he can't throw that at any time, that's actually his #1 pitch. You might as well put down #1 if you're the catcher, as Washington steps in, takes a fastball, and count 0-1. Claudel hitting at .267 on the season. No homers, 3 RBIs. Outfield spread out just a shade. Yount straight away in center. Clark at third. Ball bounces away from Schroeder. And the count 1-1. Not a seat to be had at County Stadium. Just misses the outside corner. Beck wanted it. Home plate umpire Don Dinkinger said no, and the count 2-1. And when you've been wild and you've thrown a lot of pitches, anything close, you're not going to get. So Claudel in a good spot. He's got a couple he got to look at. There's a shot base hit. Here comes Clark. Pags had to hold momentarily, so he will stop at third. And the Yankees lead it 3-0.
Well, that's nothing new to the Yankees here in the last 4 games. So make that 16 runs in the top half of the first inning in the last 4 games that the Yankees have scored. Claudel going with that pitch and knocking it right by third baseman Surhoff. You're going to win a whole bunch of games score that many runs in the top half of a first inning.
Well, it makes it just a shade easier on your pitcher.
Amen.
As Don Slaught steps in. Slaught was 6 for 7 against Milwaukee pitching in that 3-game set at the stadium on the season, hitting at .500, and he's knocked in 7 runs. That curveball taken for a strike. 0-1 to count. Pags at third, Winfield at second, Washington at first. That curveball low, and the count even said, now they call a balk, and here comes Pags. Yankees lead it 4-0. Two balks called on the right-hander Mike Birkbeck here in the top of the first inning.
Well, the youngster excited, getting his first start in 1988 before a capacity crowd here on a home opener. Treble horn out talking to Birkbeck. And a lot of times old habits are hard to break.
Well, again, it is certainly not the umpire's fault. And we have never one time insinuated that it was. They are paid, hired employees, as you take another look at it right here. They're only doing what they're being told to do, which if a rule is mandated to them, they have to try to implement it. So Treblehorn has a little chat with Birkbeck. Now another chat with Don Dinkinger, the crew chief.
I don't think it's the same tone of chatter with Birkbeck or Dinkinger that he had with Birkbeck. And I think Dinkinger is really relaying the same thing you're just talking about. What can I do? He's balking. We see it. We're calling it.
That's right. It's not the umpire's fault.
That's basically what Don is telling Treblehorn.
I'll tell you, I like this skipper here, this manager. Did an outstanding job last year in his first season in the Brewer uniform. Players just absolutely respect the devil out of him.
Well, the players and
Plus they like him.
Yeah, they do like him, and he relates well to the players, as you said. But Milwaukee, you haven't heard the last of them. They're just in a semi-slump right now. When they get things together, they'll be back in there.
So there was no pitch. The count 0-1. Now the Brewers bring their infield in. 4-0. Yankees on top with Winfield at third, Washington at second, and just one out here in the top of the first inning. Birkbeck making sure on that one. He That's what you're going to have later on. You're going to get some veteran pitchers out there who have been around a long time and are not afraid to show up somebody. They're just going to stand out there and hold that ball for a minute or two. Well, they're going to make a farce out of the game.
Also, Winfield at third base, he's running up and down the line. He's bothering the youngster.
That fastball misses. Like Bert Blyleven's already said he's going to do it. And if the Dutchman said he'll do it, he'll do it.
I think there'll be a lot of them do it.
Have a balk call in a situation, and all of a sudden all he'll do is just stand there. And the umpire cannot force him to pitch. 1-1 to count to Slot. There's the bunt. Winfield will score. They go to first base. They get Slot. It's a 5-0 lead. RBI number 8 for Don Slot.
Perfect pitcher to use the suicide squeeze on. The breaking ball. And that's just what Slot gets, is the breaking ball. He's right on top of it. Now, Don Slot, as Billy Martin well knows, is a good bunter. Even though he's a catcher, you don't find a lot of catchers that become good bunters, but Slot is.
Bobby Meacham takes the ball. 9th man to hit. Meach hitting .313 on the season. Washington at third. There's a strike and a count 1-1. 5 runs on 4 hits, no errors. Well, the Yankees, obviously, they have yet to put the leather on and have a 5 spot on the board. That's high into center field, playable. Robin Yacht's there. Drifting back as that wind has got it. At the edge of the track, calls it in. They'll retire the side. But the Yankees do some big damage here off rookie Mike Birkbeck, coming up with the 5 runs on 4 hits. No Milwaukee errors, 1 man left. And after a half inning of play, it's the Yanks 5, the Brewers coming up. Bottom of the first inning. Yankees on top 5-0. Now let's check out the Bronx Bombers for you defensively. In the outfield, it'll be Henderson in left, Claudell Washington in center, Dave Winfield in right. Around the horn, Don Mattingly will be the first baseman. Willie Randolph at second. Bobby Meacham, who seems to have settled in now as the Yankee shortstop. It'll be Mike Pagliaro at third, and a battery of Don Slot and Tommy John. There's the pitcher, 44-year-old southpaw Tommy John, making his second start of the season, his second against the Milwaukee Brewers. He started back on the 10th of this month at the stadium, didn't fare too well, went just an inning and 2/3, gave up 4 runs on 7 hits, but the Yankees came back, and in that ball game they won it 7-6 with some very fine relief pitching from Charles Hudson, Tim Stoddard, and Cecilio Guante. So Tommy John, who has had good success against Milwaukee in the past. Last year he was 1-1, and he has a lifetime mark of 15-8. And one of our very dear friends, the owner of the Chicago White Sox, and also the very exciting Chicago Bulls, Jerry Reinsdorf, and also the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, Bud Selig, stopped by to say hello. It's always nice to see a couple of good friends and good owners like that, Bob.
You bet. The Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan, I'll tell you what an exciting.
Whew. You know, we were talking about that this
morning.
morning.
His pockets look a little bit lighter, too, by the way.
How about Charles Oakley? Jordan for $28 million, Oakley for $6 million. He's dadgum right. He's walking around, not a whole bunch to hold him down. But you know what very quickly, what the Michael Jordan has done for the Chicago Bulls situation in Chicago, you know, living there and working with the White Sox. It used to be the basketball courts, you'd never see anybody on too much. Now, every basketball court is full because of Michael Jordan. He's been a renaissance of basketball there. But right here, you can see Billy Martin out to talk to home plate umpire Don Dinkinger. As Tommy John took a little slip, what he went to do was say, look, this is not a thing. I just want to go out for a medical checkup on him.
He doesn't want it to be a timeout there.
Yankees coming up with 5 runs in the top half of this inning on just 4 hits. Off right-hander Mike Birkbeck. Strange inning. Whenever you get the balk call like it has been, there were 2 calls. This more or less takes the fun out of the situation. Meanwhile, the Yankees overall, though, by far have been the beneficiaries of the balk calls rather than being on the other side of them.
You know, especially against Milwaukee. I know the Yankees, it depends on how you look at that, which side that you're especially, but the Yankees are certainly not happy about the new balk rule, along with everybody else we've mentioned so many times. But now the Yankees have scored 18 runs, top half of the first inning in the last 5 games. Man, oh man.
And Jack Clark just coming back into the lineup in case you just joined in. Clark single in the top half of this inning to knock in Ricky Henderson. So Clark in this already potent Yankee offense. TJ has concluded his warm-up tosses. It'll be Molitor, Yount, and B.J. Surhoff. Paul hitting a .345. He is hitting 6 of the 8 Milwaukee games. Brewers on that 6-game losing streak. TJ throws a curveball, catches the outside corner, and the count 0-1. Molitor, 31-year-old veteran with that sore shoulder, pops this one up into center field. Up in that wind, as we mentioned, it's blowing out towards left. Caudell's there, and it's out number 1.
Tommy, uncharacteristically, take a look at Charlie Hudson now warming up in the Yankee bullpen. Tommy John, as we mentioned, fell down during his warm-up tosses. He may be hurt, and Billy wants to make sure he's got somebody warmed up in case Tommy has to leave the ball game.
Well, TJ may also have told Billy, look, he's a veteran, a 44-year-old veteran. Look, it feels all right. Let me try it, but you better get somebody up just in case. Here's Robin Yount. Takes that curveball low. But again, Tommy with 277 career victories. All he needs is 23 more. You'd have to take a crane to get him out of there with a 5-run lead. That sinker low and the count 2-0.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier, very uncharacteristic probably of Tommy and his style of pitching today. He will want to try to throw the ball over, whereas he normally wouldn't throw you a strike unless he just had to. And then it was very doubtful he'd throw you one. But since he's ahead 5-0 and he hasn't been out on the mound except for a little over 2 innings of play here in 1988, he'll be just trying to get the ball over.
The 2-1 pitch to Robin. Outfield spread out for him. As we mentioned, Henderson in left, Washington in center, Winfield in right. Robin, the 2 home runs he has hit thus far, both coming in against the Yankees in that 3-game set at the stadium. Tried to backdoor him right there with a curveball, missed, and the count goes full. 15-year veteran. Boy, it's a good town, Milwaukee. Good, solid baseball town. They have done an excellent job with this organization in bringing baseball back. Of course, culminated in 1982 with Harvey's Wall Bangers.
What do you think, National League or American? More of an American League town, or just basically all around?
Just a baseball town. Just a good sports town. That's ball 4. So TJ, very uncharacteristically, walks the man. And with 1 out, Yount at first. That'll bring up the catcher, B.J. Surhoff. Check that, third baseman. B.J., of course, normally the catcher, having to play at third base because of the injury situation to the Brewers. He started 6 games this year. He's hitting 5 of them, hitting .280 on the season. Pags and on the grass at third. There's the sinker strike. 0-1 the count. Now the fans want a balk call against Tommy John. That's low and away.
You can see how deliberate Tommy John is now when he comes to that complete stop on the mound. Watch Tommy come and hold it there for a couple of seconds.
Outfield spread out for Surhoff. As that pitch missed the corner, Tommy wanted it. And the count moves to 2-1. Asking Dinkinger where it was, and Dinkinger's not even looking at it. The Yankees on the second leg of this 3-city road trip. 10 games. The 4 in Toronto, 3 here, and then they'll move on up to Minnesota for 3. 2-2 the count. Tommy taking a lot of time out there. And indeed, he may have pulled a little something in his leg. Yeah, just a short lead at first. That's hit hard into center field. Washington goes back, has room at the track, hauls it in, and that's out number 2.
Your attention, please.
They can already find out that Tommy is just trying to get the ball over the plate because the only 2 outs in this inning have been outs into center field. Normally, when Tommy John is on, he's got that sinker working and puts the infielders to work.
Well, you brought up the key earlier, though, is the fact that he doesn't have to try to be quite as fine right now. He can go ahead and get the ball maybe a couple of more inches until somebody starts hurting him a little bit. Then he'll start going back down that ladder with him. Here's the first baseman, Greg Brock. Brock hitting at 250. He has only 1 extra base hit thus far. That was a double. On the outside corner, a beauty, and the count evens at 1. Yeah, that 5-run lead will definitely widen the plate out for you. Curveball misses inside. You know, we talked about the 2 balks in the top half of this inning, Bobby, but actually the 2 plays that really helped set it up too were the 2 ground balls to swing in the second.
Yeah, he mentioned that give these guys 4 and 5 outs an inning, they're going to put the hurt on you.
Right side, 2-hopper Randolph. Over to Mattingly, and that'll do it. Nothing across for the Brewers. There were no hits, no Yankee errors, a man left. After 1, it's the Yankees on top, 5-0. Top of the second inning. And along with Bobby Mercer, this is Ken Harrelson from County Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the Brewers are enjoying their opening day, the fans at least, but not the score, as the Yankees on top with those 5 big ones last inning. They batted around, and here's Ricky Henderson. Ricky with that beautiful bunt single to start things off, extending his hitting streak to 10 games. Takes a strike. And Merce just looking around the league departmental leaders. He is everywhere. Henderson, 3rd in batting average. He is tied for 4th in home runs. On the outside corner, nothing in 2. He's 3rd in RBIs. He's leading the league in runs scored. He's leading the league in hits. He's leading the league in total bases, stolen bases. He's tied for 2nd in doubles. He's tied for 1st in hitting streak. Oh, no, he's 2nd slugging percentage.
I wish I could add something to that, but I can't.
Well, there's 16 categories they got listed on the sheet, and he's in 11 of them, and leading most of them.
And I think it's indicative of the way the Yankees have been playing. Henderson igniting the Yankees, especially the 1st inning.
Ball and 2 strikes to Ricky. He is now 7 for 11 this year against Milwaukee pitching. That's cued off the end of the bat. Swing. 1 gone. We were talking about Clark to make room for Jack Clark. The Yankees option Jay Buhner back to Columbus, which in essence was certainly the best thing they could do. That young man needs to be swinging the bat. He did not get to the plate at all through the first 9 games of the year, as Willie takes the pitch outside and the count 1-0. Drew a walk back in the 1st. Also, Randy Velarde, who had joined the club in Toronto, was sent back. Yeah, just hate like the devil to see an outstanding young prospect like Buhner have to sit on the bench. and do nothing. That curveball low and a count 2-1. Surhoff even with the bag at third base. The out shaded towards left. Bragg's very short and right. Up high in the count 3-1. With Mattingly on deck and Jack Clark in the hole. That's ball 4 so far. The second time Randolph draws the walk. Third one issued by Birkbeck.
First baseman, Don Mattingly.
And here comes Donnie. Get into a force play. He is 1 for 10 this year against Brewer pitching. As we mentioned earlier, this has been a club that he has had a tough go over his career. Takes it low. Like Mattingly. Hitting just .274 against Brewer pitching.
That's pretty good for somebody else, but bad for Mattingly.
Oh, I'd have taken it Easter Sunday, man. Kidding me? Missed the outside corner. 2-0 the count. Outfield straightaway, spread out. 5-0 Yankees on top. There's a balk call. Boy, what a position you're going to put. What two different sides, the adversarial position you're going to have between the umpires and the players before this thing is over, unless they get it straightened out.
Well, it's just ruined this kid right now. He's lost all of his concentration. He can't hardly get the ball over the plate. Brewers have activity in their bullpen once again.
And one thing about umpires, as you well know, Merce, they've got memories like an elephant. So there was no pitch. The count remains 2-0. That's hit it into right center field. Deep. Bragg's on his horse. He won't get there. One hop off the fence. Here comes Randolph. He'll score. Mattingly in the second. And the Yankees on top 6-0.
That's probably going to be all for the youngster Mike Birkbeck. Treble horn on his way to the mound now. Well, you can just see the youngster. He was, after that balk, he held the ball and held his hands at his waist for about 2 seconds and then threw one right down the middle, and Mattingly hit one off the right field wall. He has to change his whole style of pitching. And the youngster didn't last very long here at County Stadium on the opening day game, opening day series that is, here in 1988 for Milwaukee. We're going to have a pitching change as left-hander Dave Stapleton will come into this ball game. And you can see Travelhorn and Birkbeck now talking. They're talking over the balk. And Birkbeck is actually trying to explain to Travelhorn what in the world he thought he was doing. Of course, the umpires thought he wasn't making a complete stop. They called a total of 3 balks on the youngster. And the Yankees lead 6-0.
Well, that's the asininity of this rule. You don't try to implement it at the major league level. What you do, if you're going to do something like that, you put it in at the minor league level, try it out for a year if you want to go that way, and see how it works. You just don't come off the wall with something like this, and you get guys out there who, as we mentioned before, have been working and plying their craft for many years out on that mound. All of a sudden, you're going to make them change. It's just not the correct. It's just not the correct thing to do at the major league level. I think now, just after a week and a half, so to speak, of the baseball season, they wish they'd have gone that route.
Well, while we have some time, I'd like to tell you tonight at 7:30, it's a Mets-Nets double play. And when Davey Johnson's crew battled their Eastern Division foes, the St. Louis Cardinals, at 7:30 on Sports Channel. And the Nets square off with Air Jordan and the Chicago Bulls at 7:30 on Sports Channel Plus. It's Live's Mets and Nets action tonight at 7:30 on Sports Channel and Sports Channel Plus. Sports Channel Plus is not available in all areas. Left-hander Dave Stapleton will take over, and he will be facing right-handed hitter Jack Clark with Mattingly down at second base. There's one down here in the top half of the second inning. Yankees out in front 6-0. Stapleton, basically a fastball sinker type pitcher with a curveball and a screwball. And the youngster Mike Birkbeck finally getting his shot to pitch in 1988 after being passed over a couple times on his fifth spot start. It just didn't work out for him. He won't be going down his next time and working in the bullpen on his curveball. He'll be going down working on his balk. Balk ball. The balk ball.
So Stapleton has concluded his warm-up tosses, and here's Jack Clark. Had a first-inning single in his first at-bat in a Yankee uniform. Also knocked in a run and has scored a run. 6-0. New York leads Milwaukee. First of a 3-game set. Stapleton, 26 years old, out of Miami, Arizona. Outfield deep, swung around to the left. That's hit off the end of the bat into center field. Robin Yount right there. It's now Mattingly tags. He will move on into third base, and that's out number 2. Here's the third baseman, Mike Pagliarulo. Pags had an infield single back in the first inning. Also scored a run. Stapleton last year was 1-0 against the Yankees. Pags takes the ball and the count 1-0.
Pags has had his trouble against left-handed pitching.
That change. Pags way out in front. Evens the count up with a ball and a strike.
If you go back and Pags with that new batting stance against left-handed pitching, his only 2 home runs have come off of left-handed pitchers.
That's ripped foul over by the photographer as well. First base side, and the count moves to 1-2. Mattingly at third. 2 out, top of the second. Ground ball right side swing. That'll do it. Pags grounds out, but the Yankees put another one on the board. A run on just 1 hit. No errors, a man left after an inning and a half. 6-0 New York.
Founder.
Southpaw Tommy John taking his warm-up tosses here in the bottom of the second inning. Yankees lead at 6-0. While we have a few moments, let's check some other records of some other clubs. Most of the Yankee fans, all Yankee fans know where they stand. In the American League West, Oakland and Kansas City on top with identical 6-3 marks, followed by California 4-4, Seattle 4-5, then the Texas Rangers, Minnesota Twins, and Chicago White Sox all at 3-5. Over in the National League East, the Pittsburgh Pirates on top by a game over the Mets and the Cubs. St. Louis 3 games back, and also with Philadelphia with records of 3-5. Then the Expos off to a bit of a slow start at 2-6. And the National League West, the Houston Astros 7-1 lead the Dodgers by a game and a half, followed by San Francisco, Cincinnati, San Diego, and the winless Atlanta Braves. They are 0-8. As we mentioned, all 8 of those games coming at Fulton County Stadium in Georgia. For the Brewers here in the second, it'll be Deere, Braggs, and Schroeder. Rob Deere hitting at 171, 3 homers, 6 RBIs. And his 35 at-bats, he has 12 strikeouts. Big curveball, big swing, 0-1. Brewers trying to break a 6-game losing streak. And without question, the Brewers and the Minnesota Twins last year were the 2 streakiest clubs in the American League. That's high and deep in the left center field. Claudel back at the edge of the track, now on the track, makes a catch, out number 1.
Deere just missed that breaking ball. Deere, a 6'3", 230-pounder, and
he's stronger than that. Here's another strong one. Glenn Braggs, 25-year-old youngster, 233, no homers, 4 RBIs. Pags, I don't know where he's doing down there. He's even with a bag at third. Bags would tear him off that. Now he backs up a couple of steps. That sinker outside.
Pags has always told the infield coach that he likes to play even with the bag, and if you want me to back up, you just holler at me. I'll back up, but I like to play even with the bag or just around that area on everybody.
Well, you know, that's really not unusual, and one of the reasons being is because of the fact you're going to catch it off the grass. And if you back up, especially when there's been a lot of activity out there before the grounds crew comes out and cleans it in the 5th inning, you know, you're liable to get a bit of a bad hop. But a lot of infielders like to take the ball off the grass. That's it deep to left field. Ricky going back, looks up, put it on the board. Home run for Braggs, and it's a 6-1 Yankee lead.
Well, there was no doubt about that swing and that ball leaving the yard. Tommy John just trying to get the ball over. He's looking for some momentum, some timing. He doesn't want to walk people. He has a 6-1 lead now. Up in the strike zone. Only 1 ground ball thrown by Tommy John here in the first, 6 batters.
Here's a catcher. Bill Schroeder takes a curveball outside. It was a slider that Tommy was trying to get in on Braggs and left it out over the plate. He just ripped it out of here. That sinker catches the outside corner, and the count 1-1 to Schroeder. Bill just 1 for 8 on the season. Curveball, chop left side, Pags off his glove, and Schroeder aboard. That'll be an error for Pagliarulo, his 2nd of the season.
Might have caught it off the edge of the grass where the grass and the dirt meet. Looked like that's what happened, and just hopped up on him a bit. A lot of times early in the season where the grass and the dirt portion is, it's not quite level yet where they've formed that new sod on the infield.
I was watching him take infield practice, and the Packers play some football games here during the winter. And always when you come into, as we've talked about earlier, a new stadium first part of the year on natural grass, it's a little more grainy, so to speak. And that ball was doing some funny things in infield practice as well, as Ernest Riles takes a strike. Although that play right there had nothing to do with that. He should have had that ball. But I'm talking primarily in the outfield. It was really jumping around and taking some bad hops on the outfielders. That's low and away. Count evens at 1. The ball is striking out here in the bottom of the 2nd. 6-5-1 for the Yankees. 1-1-0 for the Brewers. Hit it low, and the count 2-1. Tommy wanted it. Outfield straight away. There's the strike. And the count evens at 2. Ernest Riles out of Bainbridge, Georgia, hitting .348 on the season as you look at right-hander Charles Hudson for the 2nd time starting to loosen up for the Yankees. Full count.
Another thing that could work in not Tommy's favor is the fact that it's cold. It's in the high 30s here at County Stadium, and Tommy John, being a sinker ball type pitcher, having to have a true grip on the baseball. If his hands get cold, he won't have he won't have that concentration or that feel of the baseball that Tommy John needs to be effective.
And make no mistake about it, it is cold here. Full count. Left side, Meacham. Randolph, rack him up. Double play, 6-4-3. That's the third double play of the year turned by the Yankees. That'll do it for the Brewers here in a second. And after two, 6-1 New York.
We may not make it to Chicago.
Take another look at the double play. Only the third one of the season. Routine. Once Willie Randolph gets it in his hands, he can turn it just about as well as anybody, Bobby.
Willie is the best that I have seen at second base on double play. All you have to do is just get the ball to Willie and let him do the rest of it. Bobby's got a nice big hop on that infield. Bobby, the Brewer infield is a little bit shaky out there. The dirt portion gets cloddy. It's not level, and you'll hear a lot of infielders complain about that infield, especially the dirt portion.
It's the top of the third inning. Yankees lead it 6-1. Coming up with 5 runs in the first, 1 in the second, and the lone Milwaukee tally. Last inning, Glenn Bragg's first homer of the season. For the Yankees here in the third, it'll be Winfield, Washington, and Slott. David Ofer, check that. He walked back in the first inning with the bases loaded. Got an RBI, and that it was number 17 on the season. As the first pitch from the southpaw Dave Stapleton misses in the count 1-0. Winfield at 9-game hitting streak. He and Ricky were tied, along with Carney Lansford of Oakland. Only 3 players in the league to have hit in 9 games. Now Ricky, with that bunt single in the first, has his extended to 10. So Winfield right there takes a strike. He didn't like it. And the count 2-1. Mike Birkbeck, the right-handed starter for the Brewers, going an inning in the third, 6 runs earned on 5 hits, 3 walks, no strikeouts, and 3 balks. 3-1 to count. Turned it over on him. Counts full to Winfield.
That's a lack of concentration on Winfield's part, because when you have the pitcher 3-1, especially a left-handed pitcher like that, you need to zone in a certain area and look for a certain pitch. And Stapleton threw him a breaking ball and was way out of the strike zone.
Comes back with the fastball out of play right side. Cali Main's full.
It's what I call taking the advantage, or taking the percentages and putting the percentages in your favor. And over a course of 162 games and 500 or 600 at-bats, you're going to end up on top most of the time.
Left side chopper. B.J. Surhoff, the catcher. Long peg in time. And that's out number 1. Well, that's the secret to hitting. Secret to hitting being one thing.
Attention, please. David Levitt.
Getting strikes to hit, getting good pitches to hit, getting on top in the count. It's a heck of a lot easier to hit 2-0-3-1, which good hitters do, versus 0-2-1-2. Here's Claudell Washington. Claudell had an RBI single, a bases loaded single, and knocked in 1 run back in the first inning. Now has 4 ribbies on the season. Takes a strike on the inside corner. Check swing. He does hold up. And the count 1-1. Don Dinkinger behind the plate. Larry McCoy at first. Drew Coble at second. And Big Tim McClellan over at third. The men in blue for this afternoon's home opener here at County Stadium in Milwaukee. And now the count, a ball and 2 strikes to Washington.
What the hitters have got to watch out for against Dave Stapleton is swinging at his motion, especially from the left side. Gives you a lot of motion, and it takes a while for the ball to get there.
Yeah, he is not going to overpower you. 2-2 to count.
That's the kind you want to, when you want to get the guy wire, you know, and just kind of plant and put it on the back foot so you'll stay in there.
Got him. First strikeout for Stapleton. First strikeout for Brewer pitching this afternoon. And with 2 gone, that'll bring up the catcher, Don Slaught. Lay down a perfect squeeze bunt in the first inning. Picked up his 8th RBI. That knocked in Winfield. Takes a sinker, strike. So Slaught, who has played in this just his 7th game with those 8 RBIs. And there was a department last year that the Yankees sorely were lacking in production, run production from the catching department. Two balls and a strike. In case some of you did not hear about it or read it in the newspapers, well, the Yankee receiver Rick Cerone has signed with the Boston Red Sox. Pull the string on him a little bit there. Slaught out in front, and the count evens at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Top of the 3rd.
Speaking of the both Sox, Clemens yesterday shut out these Brewers 2-0. He struck out 13 in that ball game. But between Hurst, Clemens, and Boyd, they are 5-0 as starters.
Full count. Well, if those guys are healthy, I think they're the most effective 3 starters in the American League. Certainly with Clemens, as we've talked about, in my opinion, the best pitcher in baseball. And I'm not so sure in all my years in baseball, Roger Clemens might not be the best. If he continues to go, he might be the best pitcher I've ever seen, period. That's ball 4 to Slaught.
That's saying a lot, obviously, but I know that having Lee Smith now in the Red Sox bullpen, that certainly helped those starters when they go out on the mound. It's been a while since they've had a quality stopper in the Red Sox bullpen. Of course, against the youngsters now at Burks. They got a good ball club.
I think they're going to be in it. I tell you one thing, as Bobby Meacham steps in, Meach 0 for 1. Talking to some people prior to the game, I think Toronto's going to have some problems. I think they have a couple of unsettled situations there. I think they have a whole bunch of rookies on that ball club. As a balk is called.
Stapleton wants to know what he did.
Second base umpire Coble says you didn't have both feet on the ground, son. 4th balk of the ball game against Brewer Hurling.
Well, what the rule actually states right now, if you take a look at Trebelhorn, is that you must come to a complete and discernible stop around the belt area with both hands on the baseball and both feet on the mound. They say he raised his foot before he came to a stop.
By the guidelines of the way they've been calling it, I could see how that one could have been called a balk. Count still 1-0 to Meacham. Outside 2-0. But getting back to the Blue Jays, it's hard to, in this division here, it's hard to win when you got 4 rookies on your ball club. And 2 of them, actually 3 of them, counting the part-time catcher, Pat Borders. That's on the outside corner. It's hard to win when you're going to have up the middle like that a center fielder or second baseman and a catcher who's going to be playing half the time for you. I think it's going to be between the Yankees and the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are legitimate. 3-1 to count.
I know the Blue Jays were awfully flat in that 4-game series against the New York Yankees. Fernandez, I saw him make a couple of errors at shortstop. You just don't hardly see him make errors, especially at Exhibition Stadium on that natural surface.
Well, Bobby, as we mentioned, he's just not moving the way he has in the past. That's hit hard in the left field. Rob Deere right there hauls it in, and that'll retire the side. Nothing across for the Yankees here in the third. No hits, no errors, a man left after 2.5. 6-1 New York.
You want to take a look at the Wiz scoreboard. First of all, in the American League, Texas and Boston all tied up in the bottom of the 9th inning, 2 apiece at Fenway. Kansas City had Detroit postponed because of rain. And the National League Cubbies out in front of Pittsburgh 3-0 in the 4th inning. And back in the American League, Minnesota's at Toronto tonight. Also Cleveland at Baltimore. Cleveland looking to continue with Baltimore. Baltimore looking to try to win their first ball game of 1988 under the new direction of Frank Robinson, who took over as manager for the Orioles. California is at Seattle, and the Chicago White Sox are out on the West Coast against Oakland. Well, we talked about the American League, Hawk. What about the American League East? What about the West? How do you feel about that?
I like Oakland. I like Oakland and Kansas City. I think it's going to be a 2-horse race over there, as we stated down in spring training. I just feel like that Oakland should win. I felt like Oakland should have won it last year. I felt like they had the best talent in that division. And they have done nothing but help themselves over the winter with some trades. Obviously, the areas that they're going to be suspect in will be a defense, especially in the outfield. But I'm a son of a gun. You know, today's market, you just can't have everything. If they had good defense in the outfield, they just liable to blow everybody away. As Dale Swain rips one. Look at the play by Bobby Meacham. He knocks it down, and he won't be able to get it over. That ball was scalded by Dale Swain. That'll be a base hit as he leads off the bottom of the 3rd.
Bobby does a good job just to knock the ball down, and if he hadn't stumbled right there, he would have picked the ball up and thrown Swain out at first base.
Yankees on top 6-1. As the top of the order for the Brewers, Paul Molitor steps in. He went out to Washington, his first trip up. But looking over there in the West, it's Kansas City. Good, solid club. I don't see any of the other 5 teams over there even making a run at them. But those 2, Oakland and Kansas City. Who would be your pick over there?
Well, I got to go along with you. Kansas City and Oakland. Texas has gone backwards the last couple of years.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. I thought they had all those young kids. They were coming on. They had a year or so under their belt, and it looked like that they were really going to break out of it. And all of a sudden, they did a 80-degree turnaround.
Well, that's one thing about this game. The more you're in it, as that ball's beat right back through the middle. Base hit for Molitor, so the Brewers come running at Tommy John here in the 3rd inning. Leadoff singles by Swain and Molitor. And that'll bring up the center fielder, Robin Yount.
Well, the Yankees have activity in their bullpen again for the 3rd time. It looks like left-hander Lee Guterman. The 2 times prior to this, there's Guterman right there. Charlie Hudson had been up. Now we're going to have some balloons across the field as they take off.
Here's Yount. Was the first Milwaukee base runner, drew a walk in the 1st inning. The only one that TJ has issued thus far. As Pags once again, even with the line at third. Hard hit Meacham. Nice play. You can rack this one up. 6-4-3 double play. Second worm turn by the Yankees in this game. Nice play by Bobby Meacham.
Nice play by Willie Randolph. Right on top of Willie is the runner as he knocks him down, Molitor. But Willie somehow gets rid of that ball. I mean, he has lightning fast hands.
So far, the last 2 innings, the Yankees have turned the twin killing. That'll put Swaim at third. And here's the third baseman, B.J. Surhoff. Ball rocked by Robin Yount. Surhoff takes the strike.
Tommy doesn't care how hard they hit him as long as it's the atom ball.
Outfield spread out straight away. That curveball way outside, and the count 1-1. Two balls and a strike.
Billy Martin, Hawk.
Yeah, he wants to check on him. Tommy's been taking an awful lot of time out there, plus the fact that, in case you just tuned in, when he was taking his warm-up tosses, he tripped out there and fell.
That's something that we wouldn't know about up here right now, but there's no doubt that Billy Martin is concerned about possibly Tommy John, who may have injured himself. As Hawk said, he fell down when he was taking his warm-up tosses, and ever since then, Billy has had a close eye on Tommy. And in fact, the Yankees have had 3 prior times people up in their bullpen. And Tommy, if he can, he will talk Billy Martin out of taking him out of this ballgame. Said, no. And Tommy can talk, believe me.
I was just getting ready to say, Bobby, there's 24 years of Major League experience out there trying to talk a manager into leaving him in.
You bet. If anybody can do it, Tommy can.
Oh, he's got all the right lines.
Yep.
So he has convinced the skipper that he is okay. And the count 2 balls and a strike to Surhoff. I started to mention Surhoff, born in the Bronx. That's chop right side. Tommy backs up. He'll make the play over to Mattingly. And that'll retire the side. So the Brewers get something going here and cannot dent home plate. Nothing across, couple of hits. No errors. 1 man left after 3. 6-1 Yankees.
If you're looking for a great lease on an import, check out the Buyer's Day celebration at all 24 Wiz stores.
It's the top of the 4th inning. And along with Bobby Mercer, this is Ken Harrelson from County Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Opening day for the Brewers here at home. Yankees on top 6-1. Henderson lead it off. And to tell you about it, here's Bobby.
All right, Hawk. Henderson 1 for 2 and facing a new pitcher in this ball game, left-hander Dave Stapleton, who came in back in the top half of the 2nd inning to face Jack Clark. Right-hander Mike Birkbeck started for the Brewers, and he's out of the ball game, only lasting 1 1/3 innings. And the Yankees are out in front of the Brewers 6-0. Ricky Henderson led this game off in the top half of the 1st inning with a beautiful bunt down the 3rd baseline. Swing and a miss. And strike 2. 1-2 now on Henderson. And then the Yankees went on to post 5 runs in the top half of the 1st. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ricky Henderson. It'll be Henderson, Randolph, and Mattingly due up here in the top of the 4th. Line, but right at third baseman Surhoff. That'll bring up Willie Randolph. Willie has been to the plate 2 times, and he's been walked both times. He's also scored a run as he was balked around. Swings at the first pitch, lines it out into right center field. Gets away from Braggs and over is Yount to pick it up. Willie will have a stand-up double. Braggs looked like he played that ball. He was cutting across. The ball was hit a little bit harder than he had anticipated. It got away from him, and Yount had to pick it up and deliver it back into the infield. That'll be the first hit given up by the left-hander Stapleton since coming into this ball game. It's the Yankees' 6th hit. And chalk up a double for Willie Randolph. That'll bring up Don Mattingly. Mattingly 1 for 2. He has an RBI. Picked up his 6th RBI back in the 2nd inning. First pitch is a fastball on the outside corner for a call strike. That is a complete stop. That's outside for a ball, 1-1. We've already had 1, 2, 3, 4 balks called in this game. 3 against Birkbeck and 1 against Stapleton. Line sharply, but just foul, says Larry McCoy down at first base. And the count will go to 1-2 as Stapleton hung a breaking pitch in on the inside corner on Mattingly. The Yankees just keep coming at these opposing ball clubs. With their 5 runs that they scored in the top half of the first inning, over the last 5 games, 18 runs the Yankees have scored top half of the first inning. They lead the Brewers here 6-1. High fastball. That'll leave the count up at 2-2. Stapleton, not an overpowering pitcher. Fastball, curveball, screwball. Basically, his fastball is a sinker type. And that was fouled back and out of play. Count remains at 2-2. Don Mattingly only had few hits against Milwaukee as he got off to a slow start. Swings and misses at a bad pitch down low on that sinker. So Mattingly strikes out. And there's 2 down as Jack Clark strolls to the plate. Sinker that goes down. And Mattingly looked like he was on it, but it's a little bit too low as the ball really takes a big bite down as Mattingly was making his swing. Second strikeout for Stapleton. Jack Clark, first time up, first time in a Yankee uniform for 1988, stroked the single to center field, picked up his first RBI. That pitch is outside for a ball. He is 1 for 2 in the ball game. Hit a high fly ball his second time up to center field. That's outside, 2-0 now. Clark may not see a whole lot from Stapleton with Mike Pagliarulo, the left-handed batter, on deck. First base is open. Randolph is down at second base. And the count is 2-0. Well, they're not even going to take any chances now. They're just going to put Clark on and pitch to the lefty, Mike Pagliarulo. So Clark will get an intentional walk. And it probably will not be the last intentional walk that Clark sees in 1988. They'll put runners at first and second for the Yankees. And Mike Pagliarulo steps in. Pags 1 for 2, an infield hit back in the first inning. Then he grounded out to the second baseman Swain in the second inning. Pags has been struggling a bit. Coming into this ball game, batting only .167. Average will go up a bit with being 1 for 2 so far. Breaking ball on the outside corner, strike 1. Yankees out in front of the Brewers, 6-1. There you see the runners leading off. First base is Clark. Second base is Randolph. 0-1 pitch is lined right at first baseman Brock as he makes a good stab of that liner. And that will do it all for the Yankees here in the top half of the fourth inning. No runs on 1 base hit. No errors. The Yankees left 2 at the end of 3.5. It's the Yankees 6 and the Brewers 1.
Ever since I was a kid, I've been hearing about Yankee pinstripes, about the special feeling of Yankee pride you get just by putting on this uniform. You know what? It's true. There's nothing like wearing Yankee pinstripe, and nothing tops it off like wearing a Yankee cap.
On Sunday, April 24th at 1:30, the Yankees host the Toronto Blue Jays, and Goodyear presents Yankee Cap Day. All fans at the stadium will receive a Yankee cap compliments of Goodyear.
Pride and power, the 1988 Yankees.
Fans, a reminder, the Yankees' next homestand begins on Friday, April 22nd, and features the Toronto Blue Jays, Kansas City Royals, and the Texas Rangers. In addition, each series features a Yankee promotion date. Now on Sunday, April 24th, the Yankees host the Blue Jays. It'll be Goodyear Yankee Cap Day. The Yankee Royals series features the Wiz Yankee Poster Night on April 27th. And on Sunday, May 1st, the Yankees host the Rangers on Pepsi Yankee Umbrella Day. Yankee tickets are on sale at the stadium or through Ticketmaster. So for more information, call the Yankees at 212-293-6000 or Ticketmaster at 212-307-7171. Now those numbers again. Call the Yankees at 212-293-6000 or Ticketmaster at 212-307-7171. Pride and power, the 88 Yankees.
Bottom of the 4th inning, Greg Brock leads it off for the Brewers. He'll be followed by Rob Deere and then Glenn Braggs. Tommy John still out on the mound for the Yankees as he started. He's been in trouble last couple of innings. Not deep trouble, just trouble because Tommy may have hurt himself as he was taking his preliminary warm-up tosses before this game started. And he fell at home plate. Or on the pitcher's mound, that is, and may have hurt himself. Breaking ball misses inside to the left-hander Brock. 0-1, 1-0 that is. Brock is 0 for 1 in this ball game. Grounded out to the second baseman Randolph. Lines this one right at Willie. The old Adam ball is working for Tommy John today.
Brewers seeing a bit of a contrast in their last 2 games. Yesterday, as we talked about, it was Roger Clemens. And today is Tommy John. That's just about as big a contrast as you'll see in the major leagues.
Well, you got the heat, and you have the sinker. There's about a, what would you guess, 25 miles an hour difference?
I'll tell you what, at least 2 yards.
Rob Deere steps in, takes the pitch outside and high for a ball.
One of them's going down very slow, and the other's getting up very hard.
Going up, right? Well, Rob Deere just missed a pitch by Tommy John his last time. That's outside for a ball. 2-0 now to Deere. He got it up, sent it out into center field. What a good swing at it. Deere has 3 home runs on the year. 2 of those home runs have come against the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium. 2-0 pitch, a little chopper down to the third baseman. Mike Pagliarulo has it and flips over to Mattingly. There's 2 down.
I remember playing against Tommy in the minor leagues. We were both teenagers, and saying to myself, Jesus Christ, this guy got no chance. He'll never get there. Next year, he's up in the big leagues. I think he was about 12 and 5 or what it was, and 25 years later, he's still out there.
Well, Tommy John, 44 years old right now. He will be 45 before the season ends. He's the oldest active major league player. Glenn Bragg steps in. He hit a home run. He's accountable for the only run for the Brewers. 6-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Bragg's his first home run of the year. Hit off of Tommy John his last time up. That miss is low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Tommy had a funny line. He said, well, he said, what's the difference? He said, my dad worked for 46 years. Why can't I work for 46 years?
Well, that's good logic. Tommy has good logic. Well, that sinker he's had, you had to have good logic out there.
That's in there for a called strike. 2-1 now to Braggs.
He sure has been a consummate professional.
Style of pitching, like you said, though, has not changed in about 30 years. Down low.
Looked like his landing leg, his right knee buckled a little bit on that one.
3 balls and a strike to Glenn Braggs. 2 men out here in the bottom of the 4th. That's hit on the ground. A shortstop and Meach. Over to Mattingly. 1-2-3 inning for Tommy John. And at the end of 4 innings of play, it's the Yankees 6, Brewers 1. Top half of the 5th inning, the Yankees coming to bat. Yankees out in front of the Brewers 6-1. It'll be Winfield, Washington, and Slot. The scheduled 3 as the fans here at County Stadium are doing a little dancing to the song Wooly Bully. And believe me, it is woolly.
I like Skull Man better, though. I like Skull Man better.
Yeah, #1 song, gold record. What can you say?
You got that in your den?
Why, of course. Dave Winfield pitches inside as Winfield squared around like he was going to bunt, and I think that was a purpose pitch. As Winfield goes to the dirt.
I almost got him in the rib cage.
I think Stapleton is saying,
well, my rib cage, not his.
What in the world are you doing bunting with the score 6-1 leading off an inning? That's over for a call strike. 1-1. Winfield officially 0 for 1 in this ball game. Walked and scored in the 1st inning, and then grounded out to the 3rd baseman in the 3rd. He has a 9-game hitting streak on the line. Throws the bat. Playing perfectly as Swain, the 2nd baseman, over to Brock, and is 1 down. Dale Swain playing 2nd base today as the Brewers are a little thin on the infield. They've got some guys playing out of position. Normally Swain is the shortstop. B.J. Surhoff is over at 3rd base, having to play 3rd. Paul Molitor has not played, I don't think, in the field so far in '88. Paul still bothered by a sore right shoulder as Claudell Washington steps in, swings and fouls the first pitch out of play. Claudell 1 for 2 in this ball game. Base hit RBI in the 1st inning, and then struck out in the 3rd. Washington got the game winning RBI yesterday in the Yankees 7-3 win at Toronto. That's down low for a ball. That'll even the count up at 1-1. Dave Stapleton, 26 years old. 2nd pitcher for the Brewers this afternoon. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 1-2 now Washington. Split the season. El Paso, Denver, and then Milwaukee. He was 2-0 for Milwaukee last year. Believe it or not, on this day, weather-wise, that's fouled out of play. Stapleton's nickname is either Iceman or Cool Man. I think that's appropriate for today, as the temperature is about 38 or 39 degrees here for opening day for the Milwaukee Brewers. Inside, ball 2. 2-2 now to Washington.
Looks like the wind has subsided just a little bit. I know when we first got here, it was blowing hard. Had to be in the teens with the wind chill.
Little grounder down the first baseman. Brock is there. Easy play for Brock, and there's 2 down. You know, we've covered, well, the Yankees have been involved in 3 opening days at Yankee Stadium, in Toronto at Exhibition Stadium, and now today here at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Don Slott steps in. Slugo laid down a perfect squeeze bunt back in the 1st inning. He picked up his 8th RBI, and then he walked back in the 3rd inning.
Evidently that's with 1G.
Pitches up high.
Slugo.
Well, I thought I heard somebody call him Slugo one day.
I thought it was Sluggo.
Was it Sluggo? Hit on the ground. Surhoff has it. The log throw over. And an easy inning for Stapleton and the Brewers as the Yankees go 1-2-3 at the end of 5 innings of play. Yankees 6, Milwaukee 1. Bottom of the 5th inning at County Stadium. Brewers coming to bat. They'll send up their bottom three. Yankees out in front 6-1. It'll be Schroeder, Riles, and Swaim due up for the Brewers here in the bottom of the 6th. Tommy John, bottom of the 5th, that is. Tommy John has started and gone all the way for the Yankees. Only 3 hits by the Brewers so far in this ball game. That one big blow coming from Glenn Braggs, his first home run of the year. And that's where we stand right now. Schroeder reached base on an error back in the 2nd inning. He's 0 for 1. TJ working and looking for his first win of 1988. And in order to get that, he'll have to work through this inning. First pitch is outside for a ball, 1-0. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball hung outside, and Schroeder chased it. 1-1 now on Schroeder.
So far, we have not seen the right-handed hitters in the Brewer lineup trying to make that effort to take Tommy to right field.
And there's another swing at a breaking ball. It looked like Schroeder was trying to pull that ball. Well, of course, the pitch that Tommy throws, that sinker, down and away from the right-handed hitters. If you don't try to hit it towards the opposite field, you're going to pull off of it and hit a lot of ground balls, weak ground balls to the left side. That pitch is outside. 2-2 now to Schroeder. Boy, what a difference a year makes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. First strikeout for Tommy, and there's one down. But what a difference a day makes, or a year makes. The Milwaukee Brewers in 1987 off to their best start. By this time last year, they were 9-0. Going on to extend that streak to 13-0. But boy, this year they have run into all kinds of problems. Came into this ball game. That pitch is over for a called strike. 12-0, I mean. And
American League record.
Their offense has just sputtered. That pitch is outside. 1-1 now to Riles.
Yeah, the skipper Tom Troublehorn saying that the key hits just have not been there.
Well, this is a good offensive ball club too.
They're decent.
Back up the middle. Bobby Meacham behind second base. The long throw over, and Mattingly grabs it on the 1-hop. Good play by Mattingly and a good play by Bobby Meacham.
Yes, it was. It was a nice play, both parts. Meacham going hard to his left. Doesn't get a whole bunch on it. Now watch Mattingly on both knees right there, or one knee, I should say. The cat man.
So some good defense behind Tommy John as Dale Swaim, the second baseman, steps in. He's 1 for 1, base hit, infield hit back in the 3rd. And that pitch is over for a call strike. Looks like Tommy's got some rhythm now.
That's the best curveball he's thrown the whole ball game right there.
I figured the longer Tommy could stay in this ball game and the more innings that he would pitch, the better he would get.
Well, he had a long time to warm up, Merce. He was down there in that long Yankee 5-run first inning. And he was throwing all during that. So he's thrown a lot of pitches.
Foul off the left side.
Plus he's thrown on the side, with the exception of yesterday. He's thrown on the side
every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Well, Tommy, he likes to get a lot of throwing in. And of course, he's only been in 2 games prior to today's start, and only has lasted like a little over 2 innings. And the more innings Tommy John can get in for himself, the better off he's going to be. 1-2 pitch. Tommy tries to sneak the fastball inside, and he misses. 2-2 now to Swaim. 6-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well, if Tommy, who led the staff last year in innings, if he can come anywhere close to that this season, as he strikes out Swaim right there, then the Yankees are certainly going to be ham and jam in that pitching staff.
Amen. Second strikeout for Tommy John, and another 1-2-3 inning for Yankees and TJ. And at the end of 5, Yankees 6, Milwaukee 1. Back at County Stadium, Bobby Mercer along with Ken Harrelson. The Yankees go to the top of the 6th inning, and they lead the Brewers by 6-1. Bobby Meacham leads it off for the Yankees. He'll be followed by Henderson and then Willie Randolph. Left-hander Dave Stapleton on the mound for the Brewers. Well, all the action came in the first 2 innings for the New York Yankees. The Yankees put up 5 big ones in the top half of the 1st inning and came back with 1 in the 2nd inning. And then Stapleton came on, and he's really shut the Yankees down since then. First pitch is over for a call strike on Bobby. Check swing, and it'll run foul. 0-2. The kind of pitcher that Dave Stapleton is. He keeps the batters off balance, and actually the hitter swings more at his motion than they do at the baseball. But you know, we talked about the Brewers and their great start last year.
Two streaks right off the bat.
Yeah. Oddly enough, this time last year was when Nieves was throwing his no-hitter against the Baltimore Orioles. Fouled out of play. He pitched the first no-hitter of Brewer history, in Brewer history, last year against the Baltimore Orioles.
Remember watching the highlights of that and the great catch by Robin Yount to save it.
A little chopper out in front of the mound, and Stapleton will have to hurry as he flips over to Brock. They get Bobby. 1 down.
The Milwaukee people, talking with them after that no-hitter last year when they came in to play the Yankees, said really he didn't have as good stuff in that ball game. A lot of balls hit hard. And then his first start against the Yankees, said he had much better stuff in that game, where he didn't last too long in that one.
Ricky Henderson steps in. Ricky 1 for 3 in this ball game. He's also scored a run. Ricky with a now 10-game hitting streak. Pitches outside for a ball, 1-0.
That was one thing about it. If he stays healthy this year, he's probably going to get more at-bats in one season than he's ever had.
In there for a call strike. 1-1 now to Henderson. I think Henderson, he didn't like that call right there from Deckinger. Thought it was a little bit high. Talked about the new balk rule, or at least the interpretation of it. There also is a new strike zone. That's outside and high. Strike zone, the old strike zone, that is used to be from the armpits to the top of the knees. They've lowered it a bit. Hit out down the right field line. Getting chase is Braggs, and he'll run out of room as the ball goes into the stands. But now the strike zone is up on the upper side, is somewhere midway between the top of the shoulders and the top of the pants. So you just figure that out on each individual, and that's where supposedly the top of the strike zone is. I probably really confused a lot of people by that. Ground ball, Surhoff. Over to Brock, and there's 2 down.
Young man, a good athlete. He's making it look fairly easy down there. Certainly has a good arm. Comes right over the top with it, as most catchers would if you put him at third base. Just checking here Ricky's at-bats. The most he's ever had was 608. That was back in 1986. And he, again, staying healthy, should easily surpass that this year.
Willie Randolph steps in and takes the first pitch over for a called strike. Willie officially 1 for 1. He's walked twice and doubled into right center field. He's also scored a run. Tries to bunt it, and the pitch is over for a called strike. Willie got his bat back. Now Willie is saying that the pitch had to be outside. If you don't win those kind of arguments, and it's 0-2.
Well, that balk rule is just going to be an entree to more and more arguments between players and umpires throughout the course of the season. And the umpires they're going to catch a lot of heat this year. And they don't like it, which I don't blame them. That being the case, you know how those guys get when they get the pinky. Boy, you just look at them wrong and they'll jump all over you.
Are you saying they hold a grudge?
Yes, sir.
Hit deep into left field. Deer backpedals and almost misjudges that fly ball by Willie Randolph. Takes the ball down right in front of the warning track. 1, 2, 3 inning as you watch Rob Deer backpedaling there in front of the warning track in left field as he brings down the ball from Willie Randolph. At the end of 5.5, Yankees 6, Brewers 1.
The first no-hitter in Brewer history. Washington Orioles 7-0.
A reminder, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the expressed written consent of the Yankees and Sports Channel is prohibited.
Well, we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The designated hitter, Paul Molitor, will lead it off for the Brewers. He'll be followed by Yount and then Surhoff. Molly 1 for 2 in this ball game. Base hit up the middle his last time up in the 3rd. TJ has only allowed the Brewers 3 hits. He's walked 1 and struck out 2. Breaking ball misses outside for a ball 1-0. Molitor now hitting .355. He came into this ball game hitting .345 in this young season. Ground ball to shortstop. Mattingly, there's 1 down. One thing I've noticed, Hawk, that Bobby Meacham he's looked a lot more comfortable on the infield than I've ever seen him. I don't know if it's confidence or what it is, but he just looks a lot better.
I think confidence is the keynote, the key word in his situation. You know, a couple of years ago, he was having a lot of problems out there, even last year at times towards the end of the season. In the late innings of the ball game, had defensive problems, but he came a long way offensively. And as you mentioned, it just seems like that Bobby is evidently starting to believe he belongs in the big leagues. He should be playing here, and he's done a heck of a job.
Robin Yount takes the pitch inside, 2-0 to Robin. Just like that ground ball by Molitor to Bobby Meacham, that ball actually took a bad hop. Instead of coming up, it stayed down, and Bobby stayed right with it. 2-0 pitch is swung on and fouled off the left side. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Young.
Most of the time when you see young infielders out there making mistakes, most of the time it will be because of a couple of reasons. One of them being they're just scared to death, or the next one being something mechanical. And the mechanical part will be that playing the position in a stand-up way with a high behind. That butt's high, you can't play. As that's beat to the second baseman. Willie Randolph is there, and that's out number 2. But Bobby right now, I mean, he's just floating around, gliding around out there. Looks like he just loving every inning of it.
Well, one of the key things that Bobby did was about an inning ago when he made a nice play back up the middle, and he threw the ball in the dirt to Don Mattingly, and he had a nice laugh after that. A couple of years ago, Meacham would have worried the whole game about that as B.J. Surhoff steps in, takes a pitch up high for a ball. 1-0. Surhoff 0 for 2 in the ball game. 6-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the 6th. High and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. That's not a stage name. I don't know what it is. B.J. Surhoff, youngster out of North Carolina. Everybody in the world was wanting this kid. Fouls this one out of play. 2-1. And the Brewers were the lucky ones to land him.
We mentioned he was born in the Bronx, graduated from Rye High School back in 1982.
82, huh? 3-1 now to Surhoff. Well, he's playing a little bit out of position today as he starts at third base, makes his first start over there. The Brewers a little bit thin on the infield. Normally would be catching for the Brewers. But he made that move. He actually played, he said his best position was shortstop when he played at North Carolina. And that's when he made the move to catcher. Hit down the left field line. Henderson giving chase. Moving towards the line. Makes a one-handed grab. Nice play by Ricky Henderson to end the inning. And at the end of 6 innings of play, Yankees still lead it 6-1. Well, while we have a second, I'd like to congratulate you, Hawk, and your last year's crew. for winning a local area Emmy for outstanding live coverage. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby. Right here, it's the top of the 7th inning, 6-1. Yankees on top. Mattingly, Clark, and Pagliarulo to face the southpaw Dave Stapleton. Yankees with 6, checked at 5 big runs in the first inning, 1 in the second. Brewers getting their lone tally in the bottom of the second on Glenn Bragg's first homer of the year. Don this afternoon 1 for 3, a double, an RBI, and a run scored. 3-0 to count. First of a 3-game set. Opening day here at County Stadium. There's the strike. And of course, clubs do not like to open up with the Yankees. And the reason being, they're going to have good crowds anyway. They'd rather have the Yankees later on, as there's ball 4. So Mattingly draws the walk. 3rd walk issued by Stapleton. And that'll bring up Jack Clark. In case you just tuned in, Clark with that first inning single, and his first at bat in the Yankee uniform, knocking in Ricky Henderson. He also has scored a run. But the Yankees come in, and just like Dick Hackett, who is the vice president of public relations for the Brewers, said in the paper today, he didn't care who they open up with, anybody but the Yankees, because he wants that draw later on in the year. Big rip, and the count 0-1. 6-1 for the Yankees, 1-3-0 for the Brewers. Brewers in the midst of a 6-game losing streak. That's outside, and the count evens at 1. Clark in a very familiar close stance, wagging the bat. We mentioned last year 35 homers, 106 RBIs for the Cardinals. Just on the outside corner, Clark didn't think it got the plate. Dinkinger said it did, and the count 1-2. One thing we noticed in spring training, umpiring to Clark, the umpires were really calling the outside pitch. A lot of times when you get a guy with a closed stance like that, well off the plate like Jack Sands, they have a tendency to give that pitcher that outside corner, or even several inches outside the corner. That's low. 2-2. And tomorrow's action, it'll be Rick Rhoden against undecided. Brewers do not know who they're going to pitch tomorrow. It might be Teddy Guerra, if in fact, as there's a call 3rd strike to Clark. He didn't like it, just tosses the bat away. So that's out number 1. And if Aguirre's back is still very stiff like it was today or yesterday, he will not pitch. Then in the finale on Sunday, it'll be Candelaria against Chris Bosio. So with Mattingly at first, 1 out, here's Pagliarulo. Pags had an infield single in the first. Bounce to second, and he's lined to first. Breaking pitch low and away, and the count 1-0. Of course, Milwaukee, with this big crowd on hand we mentioned earlier, had all the tailgaters out there. This park, without question, number 1 in that category around the American League. Their drawing area from several states. And they get people coming in here very early, come in their pickup trucks and their vans and their mobile homes, get out there in the parking lot and just have themselves a ball. It's not uncommon at all to see 15 or 20 people in groups, and many of those groups out there in the parking lot, barbecuing some hot dogs, hamburgers, drinking some Cokes and Budweiser, just having a good time at the ballpark. That pitch misses, and that's ball 4. So Stapleton walking Mattingly, striking out Clark, walking Pags, and that'll bring up Winfield. Right-hander Chuck Krim starts to loosen up for the Brewers down in their pen. So here's David. Walked with the bases loaded in the first inning. And the next 2 times up has bounced out. Screwball misses. And the count 1-0. Winfield off to a fabulous start. Two and nothing. Stapleton not giving in. Trying to nibble the corner. Winfield against Brewer pitching this year is 7 for 12, 2 homers, and 5 RBIs. Short leads by the runners. This could be a pair. Riles over to Swain. Over to Brock, and that'll do it. Rack him up. Double play. That's the first one of the game turned by the Brewers, 8th of the season. Nothing across for the Yankees. And after 6.5, they lead it 6-1. Right now, let's check out our Whiz Major League scoreboard. In the American League, the Texas Rangers beat the Boston Red Sox 3-2 at Fenway. That game went 10 innings when Steve Buechele hit a solo homer in the top of the 10th to win that one. The only other day action scheduled was Kansas City, Detroit. That was postponed because of rain. Other action will show Minnesota, Toronto, Cleveland, and Baltimore, California, Seattle, and the White Sox at the Coliseum in Oakland. In the National League, in the home opener for the Chicago Cubs, Cubbies leading the Pirates 5-0 in the 7th inning. Other National League action under the lights: St. Louis at New York, Philadelphia at Montreal, Cincinnati at Houston, San Francisco at San Diego, and the Braves take on the Dodgers in Los Angeles.
This is the largest home opener.
But right here, County Stadium, their home opener. It's the bottom of the 7th inning. Yankees lead it 6-1. It'll be Brock, Deere, and Braggs as Tommy John, who through the first couple of innings looked like he may not make it as he tripped out on the mound taking his warm-up tosses and evidently hurt himself a little bit, but since that time has recovered. Twice Charles Hudson has been up in the pen. Also, the big left-hander Lee Guterman has warmed up. Tommy's given up just the 1 run in the 2nd inning. Home run by Braggs and 2 other base hits, both those coming in the 3rd. Leadoff singles by Swain and Molitor, then the double play hit into by Robin Yount. Frisbee hits the field as Brock took a ball, and the count 1-0. Greg this afternoon 0 for 2. He's bounced to second and lined hard to Randolph at second.
I think they're going to call that a no pitch since the third base umpire.
Did he call time?
Called time as it was before the pitch was thrown.
That will just tee it up again. Outfield straight away. Tommy says, okay, I'll take it. And the count 0-1. Big curveball in and over. Little slurve missed, and the count evens at 1. Yankees trying to extend their winning streak to 4. Brewers trying to stop their losing streak at 6. 2 balls and a strike. Fouled off on plate, and the count evens at 2. We will get the attendance figures for you as they just came over the PA system. 55,887. 55,887. That is the largest opening day crowd in Brewer history. That curveball misses, and the count goes full. So the 30-year-old former Dodger, Greg Brock, trying to reach base, as the Brewers coming in hitting just .242 as a club. Yankees on the other side of that ledger hitting .318. .318. That's ball 4. So the leadoff man aboard. That's the second walk issued by John. And here comes the left fielder, Rob Deere. Deere's fly to center, and he's bounced to third. Art Fowler, Billy Martin. And there will be some activity down in the Yankee pen. Those leadoff walks will get somebody up most of the time. Outfield swung well around to the left. Takes a sinker on the outside corner. Deere, of course, picked up from the San Francisco Giants a couple of years ago. There's that 59-footer blocked nicely by Slaughton. The count evens to 1. Right-hander Cecilio Guante. In fact, when they had the introductions prior to the game in the ceremonies, Billy Martin, of course, was introduced first, went out by home plate, and the Yankees pulled a little something on him. Every one of them that was introduced, they all went down to third baseline, and left Billy standing right at home plate by himself, except for Guante. He's the only one who went down and stood by number 1.
He actually went down there and put his arm around and kind of hugged him up a bit.
I'll give him a little feeling of welcome here in Milwaukee. There's Guante.
When you're playing this kind of baseball, you can have a little fun out there.
Well, they were having some fun. They were loose as Deere trying to take Tommy right on out of here on a sinker. Tommy just wishes he'd have hit that one. And a little ground ball left side. 2-2 the count.
Well, Rob Deere, one of the biggest negatives about him is he strikes out too much.
That's lined hard in center field, base hit. As Washington takes it on the short hop, gets it back in. So the Brewers, indeed, a threat going here in the bottom of the 7th with Brock at second, Deere at first, nobody out. Now Slaught out to the mound, killing a little time. Guante still has not thrown enough pitches to be loose, or I should say ready to come into the ball game, as the right fielder Glenn Bragg steps in. Bragg's 1 for 2, that home run back in the 2nd inning. Now Billy Martin will make a very slow walk out to the mound. And I would imagine that's going to be all for the left-hander Tommy John.
Well, that's the first base hit actually given up by Tommy John since Dale Swaim led off with a base hit, infield hit back in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, he had retired 11 in a row. But the Brewer club, very aggressive, very explosive.
He may be saying that Tommy hurt himself. Nope. He's going to go right to the pen. Guante will be the new pitcher.
All right. Tommy John, who has worked 6+ innings, will exit. The right-hander Cecilio Guante will come in relief, and we'll be back to tell you about Cecilio's numbers right after this.
It's more New York than Miami.
Well, Cecilio Guante will come in to take over for Tommy John and the Yankees here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Nobody out, and the Brewers have runners at first and second. This will make Guante's 6th appearance of 1988. Guante with a record of 1-0 and a 2.70 earned run average. He also has 1 save on the year. Just a total of 6 2/3 innings for 1988. Tommy John started a little bit shaky in the early goings, but settled down for the Yankees and pitched 6 complete, or 6+ innings, that is. The 2 runners on base are Tommy's right now. So Galante will try to shut the Brewers and the runners on base down here in the 7th inning. Yankees out in front 6-1. Galante pitched 2 scoreless innings to record his save for Tim Stoddard, and his previous save prior to that, which is his only save in 1987. Galante, bothered by arm problems in 1987, didn't pitch a lot for the Yankees. Came back on April the 21st, so the Yankees are happy that Galante is healthy and back in 1988 and getting some innings in.
Well, when he came to spring training, he certainly by no stretch of the imagination had this ball club made. All he did was go 18 scoreless innings in the spring. Right here, he's got his work cut out for him. The Yankees on top 6-1. 6 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Yankees. 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors for the Brewers. Runners at first and second, nobody out. And here's Glenn Braggs. He's 1 for 2, that home run back in the 2nd inning off Tommy John. Takes it high and in the count 1-0. Big, strong, right-handed hitter. Just 25 years old. Count 2-0. So Galante asking Dinkinger, where was it?
Well, you know it's got to be cold down in those bullpens, unless they've got some heaters working down there.
Big pitch. 3-0. There's a strike. Brock at second base. Rob Deere at first. Braggs, we mentioned 6'3", 210 out of San Bernardino, California. Outfield spread out. Big gap in left center. Henderson playing the line in left. That's ball 4. That'll load him up with nobody out. Tommy John, a very pensive pose in the dugout as the Brewer catcher Bill Schroeder steps in. Schroeder 0 for 2, reached base on an error, and was one of Tommy's 2 strikeout victims.
Now you got to be careful about the ball.
Breaking ball misses. And the 55,887 for the first time in this ball game. Really start to get into it.
I think the cold weather is really affecting Galante because he is going constantly to his mouth as he blows on his hands to try to keep his fingers warm.
High pop. That would be out of play left side over the Yankee dugout. Ball and a strike to Schroeder. Schroeder, good fastball hitter. Last year, just having himself an outstanding season until that injury. Hit .332. Slider on the outside corner. Schroeder didn't like it. And the count of ball and 2 strikes. Dinkinger catching it from everybody. Cecilio, Bobby mentioned he's going to those hands, trying to get a little circulation. Runners with short leads. Last thing they want to do in this situation be doubled off. As a check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did, says first base umpire Larry McCoy. Schroeder doesn't like it. And a big strikeout for Guante.
If he gets thrown out of the ball game, did they throw him out? Then Surhoff would have to come in probably to catch. I guess they didn't throw him out. Breaking ball down and away, and Schroeder tries to check his swing. That's an awful touchy call, but first base umpire McCoy said he went around. Big strikeout for Guante.
As we mentioned on those replays, they always look like they go around.
Yeah.
I thought from up here, I didn't think he went around. Meanwhile, Cecilio will take it. The Yankees will take it. And that'll bring up the shortstop, Ernest Riles. Riles is hit into a double play and was robbed of a base hit on a nice play by Bobby Meacham. Bags it on the grass at third. Hard hit. Should be a pair. Randolph, Meach, rack him up. 4-6 to 3. Third double play of the game turned by the Yankees, and that'll take the Brewers right out of what could have been a very damaging 7th inning. Nothing across after 7. 6-1 New York.
Well, right-hander Chuck Krim will be the third pitcher for the Blue Jays, for the Brewers, that is, used this afternoon. As we go to the top of the 8th inning, Yankees get out of a pretty big jam back in the bottom of the 7th inning. As Guante pitches out of it, but the Brewers, that is, with Chuck Krim now the third pitcher. Krim making his third appearance for the Brewers. A record of 0-1. Not pitched too much this year, only a 2 1/3 innings.
Top of the 8th inning, and what a nice job by Cecilio Guante. After he came in, first 2 men reached base. He walked Bragg, struck out Schroeder, and then got Ernest Riles to hit into a 4-6-3 double play. 6-6-1 for the Yankees, 1-4-0 for the Brewers, as that ball is lifted out into right field. Broken bat, 1 pitch, 1 out. Washington now 1 for 4 on the afternoon. The Yankees prior to today's game had only turned 2 double plays through the first 9. They have turned 3 this afternoon. So Krim on in relief of the left-hander Dave Stapleton, who did a fine job going 5 2/3, no runs, 1 hit, 4 walks, 1 intentional, and had 3 strikeouts. Well, as Murph says, here's Slugo. Slugo Slaw. Downey this afternoon squeezed bunt in the first inning to knock in his 8th run of the season. Walked in the 3rd, bounced to 3rd in the 5th inning. Takes up high in the count, 1-0. Outfield playing slot to pull as the count evens at 1. Right-hander Chuck Krim. He's 26 years old, out of Van Nuys, California. 6 feet tall, 170 pounds. And another one of these local homegrown boys in the Milwaukee Brewer organization. So manager Harry Dalton believing very strongly in that. They have brought some fine youngsters up through the organization to go along with some good people down there to teach them and instruct them, and also a very fine scouting staff. 1-1 to count to Slot. Breaking pitch misses. 2 balls and a strike. Two and 2. Of course, every year when you start the season off, there's a lot of things that hang in the balance in the mind of the players, individually and collectively. Yankees last year on the road had a record of 38-43, 5 games under. And the big things for them this season is that ball's hit high and deep to left field. Deere going back is up in the wind. Put it on the board. Home run for Slot, and the Yankees lead it 7-1.
No doubt about that one. Don Slot got it up in the wind.
Shortstop, Bobby Meacham.
And it's Slot's first home run for the Yankees here in 1988. Hanging breaking ball. And that's what happens when you hang too many of them in the strike zone.
Here's Bobby Meacham. Meacham for 3. But has really covered the shortstop position this afternoon. Forget about the wood. He has thrown the leather. Slashed out of play. And the count 1-1. Getting back to the perception of the individuals and the players collectively. It's very important when a club has had, like they did last year, tough time on the road. Now they start this 10-game homestand as that's popped up into short right field. When Braggs, he'll make the play, and that's out number 2. So that being the case, with this 10-game road trip, they go to Toronto, some of their big competition. They get blown out the first game 17-9, come roaring right back and handle the Blue Jays easily in the next 3 games. They come in here to County Stadium, some more of their competition. Put 5 on the board in the first inning, another in the second, 1 more here in the 8th. They lead it 7-1. And just watching these guys being introduced, the Yankees that is, prior to the game, you're talking about a loose bunch of guys out there. They were loose and having some fun.
Well, they're confident. They know that they have a good ball club, and they know that they have a chance of blowing teams out early in the game. You make one mistake against the Yankees, they can put a lot of numbers on the board quickly.
Yeah, so this is could be a very opportunistic ball club. You give them 4 outs an inning once or twice a ball game, and chances are you're going to get burned. Henderson. Ricky 1 for 4, had that bunt single in the first inning to start off the 5-run Yankee rally. That extended his hitting streak to 10 games. That was the way the 62, when I first came into the league, Bobby, in 63, that was the way the Yankees were. Boy, I'll tell you, you make a mistake on them and they would just absolutely jump all over you. As that's popped way high. Ernest Riles fighting that wind now makes the catch, and that'll retire the side, but not before. Don Slott's first homer of the season, his second RBI of the game, and after 7.5, Yankees lead it 7-1.
Their number is 212-307-7171. Be a part of Yankee baseball in '88.
Well, you may have heard the ovation in the background. 55,887 in attendance, largest, as we mentioned, largest in Brewer history. Also the largest opening day crowd in the major leagues for 1988. So they were giving themselves a well-deserved round of applause. Bottom of the 8th, the Yankees lead it 7-1. It'll be Swain in the top of the order, Molitor and Yount. Cecilio Guante. What a job he did last inning, coming on in relief of Tommy John. TJ gave up the leadoff walk to Brock, the single to Deere. He left. Guante came on, walked Braggs to load him up, nobody out, struck out Schroeder, and got Riles to hit into an inning-ending double play, 4-6-3. 1-1 the count to Swain. He's 1 for 2 this afternoon, an infield single in the 3rd, and he struck out in the 5th. Swain, a couple of home runs in the Baltimore series, opening up the season. Since that time, has had a tough go-up. 25 homers last year and just 24 years old. That's high and deep in the left center field. Henderson on his horse. Look at the catch by Ricky Henderson. Mercy. Wow.
Well, he got a handshake from Claudell Washington, and Deservedly so, and that's the speed of Ricky Henderson actually outrunning that baseball. You can do a lot with speed, and you can do a lot in the outfield with speed. You can close those gaps in a hurry is what I'm talking about.
There are only a couple of guys that could have made that catch. He's one of them. Maybe that kid in St. Louis, Vince Coleman, the other. I didn't think he had a prayer to get it as Molitor steps in, pops it up right side. Willie Randolph. And again, as we have seen so many times in the first 4 games of this road trip, I should say first 5 now, Yankees making an outstanding defensive play on the leadoff hitter of the inning.
Mike Pagliarulo in Toronto make 3 or 4 outstanding plays at third base. When you get pitching, defense, offense, what else is there? Just rack up a couple of wins.
Just put it on the board, that's all. Get that one off the schedule and go to the next one. Here's Robin Yount. Robin 0 for 2 this afternoon. Man, I don't think Ricky had a chance to get to that ball. There's the slider in and over, and a count 0-1.
We know it's a long year, and there are a lot more games left to play, but the Yankees continue to play and improve each game like they have so far. I'll tell you what, they are doing everything that you have to do fundamentally to win the ball game.
Well, I certainly agree with that 100%. You're exactly right, because, well, I was talking to a fellow who I really respect his opinion. He's been around the game a long time. Can't mention his name, but he said prior to the game, that breaking ball outside and the count 1 and 2. Said, dadgum, he said, this thing's liable to be over by July. I said, no, I don't. I said, I hope you're right. I don't think it'll be that way. They said they're just too good. They said the Yankees are just too good if they stay healthy. So I told him I didn't like what I saw in Toronto. The club that really bothers me, as we talked about earlier, are the Red Sox. There's a little looper off the end of the bat. Randolph can't quite get to it. Meacham will have to pick it up in center field, so a base hit. A little excuse me by Robin Yount. First hit off Guante, the 5th hit by the Brewers.
Believe it or not, this ball was hit too softly for anybody to make a play. That's basically what happened. It was just hit too soft.
Here's the third baseman, B.J. Surhoff, 0 for 3. Mattingly playing back in his normal position as that's down low, and the count 1-0. Yeah, the one thing you never want to do in this game is start popping your jaw, whether it be a player or anybody else, early in the season after you get off to a good start.
Well, that's the reason so there are a lot of games left to play, but the Yankees are certainly playing possibly the best baseball in the major leagues right now. Brewers a year ago got off to their fantastic start.
Well, first of all, it's a better club physically than the Yankees had on the field last year. They have strengthened their catching. They also have a situation where their pitching staff is much deeper,
especially in the bullpen.
Ball and 2 strikes to Surhoff with 2 gone here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Yankees on top 7-1.
Injuries just killed the Yankees in '87. That's something you don't like to mention, because injuries are so important to stay away from during a season. Seems like those injuries, though, they come in bunches. One guy gets hurt, next thing you know, you've got somebody else hurt. The Yankees actually, before Jack Clark came on today, they had 4 guys on the disabled list that were on the ball club last year.
Nice play by Don Slaught. Just scooped that one up. Count evens at 2.
Guidry is still in Florida, along with Tollison and Neil Allen. They say that Guidry is throwing the ball free and easily.
There goes the runner as the pitch is fouled out of play. Yeah, when you can get your club off to a good start, boy, everybody. And one of the big things is, as we talked about, the early scoring of the Yankees just puts a different sense of presence in that pitcher out on the mound when he takes the hill in the bottom of the first. That's base hit, ripped into center field. Yeah. Round second, he'll move into third. So with 2 out, the Brewers have runners at the corners. And that'll bring up the cleanup hitter, the first baseman, Greg Brock. And here comes the skipper. Hudson. And Guterman. Throwing nice and easy down in the Yankee pen. Billy's had his little chat as you look at Hudson. And the 6'8" left-hander Lee Guterman. Here's Brock. He's 0 for 2. And that's still blowing hard now. It's picked up even more out to left field.
Hudson and Guterman are throwing the bullpen for New York.
There's a breaking ball strike. And you look back now, even though the score is 7-1 New York, a tremendous play by Ricky Henderson from the leadoff guy. Things could have been a little tighter. High pop up. Playable. Pagliarulo makes the catch, and that'll retire the side. So the Brewers with a 2-out threat don't score. After 8, Yankees lead it 7-1.
Your attention, please. The Brewer management would like to remind you to please check around your seats for personal belongings before you leave the stadium.
Well, right-hander Mark Clear will come on to pitch to the Yankees here in the top half of the 9th inning. Clear getting some work in.
Clear, the 4th Brewer pitcher of the afternoon. Mike Birkbeck started, went an inning and a third, giving up 6 runs, earned on 5 hits, 3 walks, and had 3 balks. Then it was Dave Stapleton coming on, doing a good job, going 5 2/3, no runs, 1 hit, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Chuck Krim for an inning, and now the big right-hander, former Red Sox right-hander Mark Clear. Willie Randolph will lead off the top of the 9th. The Yankees on top 7-1. Willie 1 for 2 in the ball game. Couple of walks, a double, and he's lined hard to left. Seven, 7-1 for the Yankees. 1-6-0 for the Brewers. Defensive change for Milwaukee. Mike Felder has moved into center field in place of Robin Yount. High into right. Glenn Braggs is there. 1 out. Here's Don Mattingly. Don's 1 for 3. Had an RBI double back in the 2nd inning. And strangely enough, as we mentioned, Mattingly has had tough times against Brewer pitching in his career, bringing in a lifetime .274 hitter. And also, this is the only park in the American League that he has never gone downtown in. Good change from Clear, and the count 0-2.
I would be willing to bet you before Mattingly's career is over with that he goes downtown in this park.
Merce, that is the kind of bet that you will make. That's off the end of the bat. Looped into short center field. Felder, good speed coming a long way. Makes the basket catch. And that's out number 2.
Your attention, please. Judy Kepke report to the
You love those comments.
Judy Kepke.
Why, you think that's a sure thing?
The locksmith.
A lot of ground covered by the new center fielder. Felder coming on. Interesting basket catch.
Here's the DH, Jack Clark. Clark 1 for 3. First inning single to knock in Ricky Henderson. A couple of big horses right here in this confrontation. That's outside, and the count 1-1.
Clear normally a setup man for Dan Plesac, the stopper out of the Brewer bullpen. Clear with that good breaking ball.
One of the best in the business. Curveballs. Boy, he has got a snapdragon. Cued off the end of the bat, and the count evens at 2. Pitchers of record, of course, Tommy John had a chance to get his first victory of the season. And rookie Mike Birkbeck a chance to pick up his first defeat of the year. There's that hook and misses. Count goes full to Clark. Jack was injured back on March 17th down in Miami against the Orioles in spring training. So it's about 90% right now. Right on the outside corner. Clark doesn't like it. Dinkinger says grab some bench. That'll do it for the Yankees here in the ninth. 1-2-3 inning for Clear. And the Milwaukee Brewers, they're in trouble. Going to the bottom of the ninth, they trail it 7-1.
Talked about Mark Clear's breaking ball, and Don Dinkinger. Either that was a perfect pitch on the outside corner, or was it outside just a bit. You can see why Jack Clark would question that call.
Yeah, you could see, but in a 7-1 ball game, ninth inning. Boy, those guys get that right arm working, don't they?
39 degrees.
Well, that's one thing. A long time ago, you know, the umpires, they just tell you in a game like this, hey, start swinging the bat, kid.
When you leave the batting circle, you better have the bat in motion.
That's right. They tell you when you get to the plate. Start swinging. And, of course, you knew what they were talking about. So when they called you out on a bad pitch, sometimes it really didn't get to you as bad as it does in today's game. But right here, it's the bottom of the ninth inning. Yankees lead it 7-1. It'll be Deere, Braggs, and Bill Schroeder as they will face a new Yankee pitcher, right-hander Charles Hudson. And oh, what a job Cecilio Guante did. Coming on in relief of Tommy John back in the 7th inning. 2 men on, nobody out. Guante walked Braggs to load him up, then struck out Schroeder. And get Riles to hit into a double play. So Guante going 2 innings, giving up 2 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Deere way out in front. Brewer left fielder 1 for 3 this afternoon. Had that 7th inning single. Outfield shaded towards left. All-speed pitching it over, and quickly the count 0-2.
Hudson throws another breaking ball like that to Deere, and it'll be all over with.
Tried to get him to nibble at one a little low, and the count of ball and 2 strikes. In case you joined us late, 4 balks called in this game, 3 of them back in the 1st inning. Check that. 2 in the 1st inning, 1 in the 2nd of right-hander Mike Birkbeck. Another call on the left-hander Dave Stapleton. High pop, left side. Pags is there. Foul territory. 1 out.
Yankee pitchers have not balked in this game.
Here's the right fielder, Glenn Braggs. homered in the second, bounced to short in the fourth inning, and walked in the seventh. Rick Rhoden tomorrow afternoon, his third start of the season, as Braggs takes the ball. They do not know as of now who will tee it up against Rhoden for Milwaukee. But Sunday, John Candelaria, after that very fine route-going performance against the Blue Jays, he'll go against the right-hander Chris Bosio. High pop-up. Slot gets rid of that mask. Now the wind's got it. Watch out. Bragg still standing at home plate. Nobody covering at first, and he'll beat it out.
We got bad plays by everybody.
Yep.
We'll start off with Braggs. Everybody at home plate and watched the play. He was mad at himself for popping the ball up. Here goes the pop-up. Now all the Yankees begin to converge right in front of home plate. Slot. Here comes Pagliarulo, Charlie Hudson, Don Mattingly, Willie Randolph, and nobody covers first base.
Don't leave Hudson out.
They were all in there.
Everybody that had a chance to screw it up screwed it up. So they give Braggs a base hit. That'll bring up Adducci. Jim Adducci will hit for Bill Schroeder. Fastball outside, and the count 1-0. Yes, sir. That's where Pack saw what was happening. Mattingly saw what was happening with that wind. They knew that Slot was in trouble. That's where Hudson's got to come in and start directing some traffic. That's slashed foul. Chaz caught up in the action of the play himself. Forgot what he was supposed to do. And Willie all of a sudden realized he made a boo-boo too by not being at first base. One and two to count. There's one thing about it. You can bet all the golf balls you want to bet, Merce. That's the last time that'll happen to Randolph. On a pop-up like that. So maybe it's a good thing it happened in this kind of a ball game.
Had something similar happen to me when I played center field.
Got him. Blew him away upstairs.
Al Kaline, great player for the Detroit Tigers. Hit a little ground ball up the middle, and I was hot dogging it in center field. And before I could turn around and even receive the ball, he was standing on second base. Taught me a lesson. Never happened to me again.
Here's Ernest Riles. Boy, what a fine player. What a great player he was. Kaline never made any mental mistakes. Fastball high. Riles 0 for 3 twice. He has hit into double plays this afternoon. Yankees have turned 3 big ones. Two and 0. 7 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Yankees. 1 run, 7 hits, no errors for Milwaukee. Looks like maybe half of the 55,887 in attendance have departed. There's a strike. I remember when I was a rookie, I tried to go from first to third on Kaline on a single. Thought I had it made easy. He threw me out. And as I was going back to the dugout, he was just screaming at me, "Don't you ever do that again. Don't you ever run on me." Well, I listened to him. I never tried it again. That's into left field. This should do it. Ricky Henderson now backs up a couple of steps. Snacks, grabs it, and that'll retire the side. Ball game is over. The Yankees win it 7-1. 7-7-1 for the Yankees. 1-7-0 for the Brewers. And we'll be back to wrap it up for you right after this. Totals on the board for this afternoon's ball game. First of a 3-game series here at County Stadium for the Yankees. 7 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. They stranded 6. For the Brewers, 1 run, 7 hits, no errors. They left 7. The winner, Tommy John. He is now 1-0. The loser, Mike Birkbeck. He is 0-1. And Bobby, one of those games, biggest crowd in the